Hi everyone, welcome back. Let's look at polynomial long division. Before I go through a long division, I could go through lots of justification, but I really just want to ask this one question. Is it possible, could I cancel somehow, could I cancel this fraction? Could I simplify this fraction? Could I go x plus 2 fits into this, and if it does, how much does it fit into it? So it's just like doing any other calculation. For example, if I had 10 over 2, you can go with 2 fit into 10, of course it would. What if I had 11 over 2? Would 2 fit into 11? Yes, but in that case it'd have a remainder. So first of all, we're going to deal with a case. I've set the question up where it's got no remainder. So here we go through the process. First question that mucks up everyone is what I talk about is divide. Really, of all the mistakes that are in here, most people have trouble. If they have trouble with the understanding of the algebra, this is where it comes from. Here's the question you have to ask. How many times does x go into x cubed? How many times does x, now I always write it separately this way, and found over the years that some people who just didn't understand can look at that and it starts to make sense. Sometimes it's a struggle till it sinks in. We're doing division first. How many times does x go into x cubed? How many times does x go into x cubed? Now if you go back to your index laws, or some people talk about the exponent laws, you subtract the power when you're dividing. So when you're dividing, you do a subtraction of the power, or the index, or the exponent if you're in America and some other countries. So 3 take 1 is 2. Could show you in full for a moment that x cubed is x times x, and you divide it by x. One of the x's cancel and you're left with x squared. But really the index law is just subtract the powers. So x into x squared into x cubed goes x squared. Now we do the multiply. So then, being careful though, the multiply has to happen twice. It has to happen to that one, and it has to happen to that one, otherwise the question doesn't work. So x squared by x is x cubed, x squared by 2 is 2x squared. Now, where people make lots of silly mistakes, not that they don't understand, it's just where the silly mistakes come from, is subtraction. I still remember at school, I always wrote that in after a while because I kept on making too many mistakes and had to do this regularly. So an x cubed, take an x cubed is gone, or a 0, nothing left. A 3x squared minus a 2x squared is an x squared. So we're just collecting like terms or subtracting like terms here. Now we're back to divide again. I see it as you're going around like a loop that gets ever bigger. Almost see it like a snail shell, but it just keeps looping around. So we're back to divide. So what do I divide? How many times does x go into x squared? So we're back to the same question as here. How many times does x go to x squared? Well, if you look at that and just go x and you don't hesitate, but I know from experience that a lot of students do. You can just subtract the power. 2 take 1, here's x to the 1. Of course you don't have to write the 1. So x into x squared goes x. So easy for people to write all sorts of silly things and think it's 2. So we've done the divide, now we do the multiply again. So x times x is x squared, and you can tell if you're correct because they end up the same. So I suppose you can make silly mistakes and have them look the same. And then you're going to multiply both. So x times the 2 is the 2x. So now we want to do a subtract again. So it's DMS. I think of it the other day talking to a class about degrees, minutes and seconds. So on your calculator you'll have a degree, minute, second button. But yeah, if it works for people. So what do we do next? Subtract. So I used to pick up my red pen and do the subtraction. So the x squared, take the x squared, is gone. The minus 4x minus the 2x, the negative 4x, subtract the 2x is negative 6x. Be careful with your negatives. And we're back to divide again. So let's go divide. So x into minus 6x. So x into minus 6x. If you're having trouble with the algebra, the x's cross off and you're just left with minus 6. So x will go into that minus 6. Back to multiply. So let's go multiply. Minus 6 by x is minus 6x. Minus 6 by 2 is minus 12. Good part is they're the same, which is a nice little thing to see that it actually went in exactly. So do a subtraction. Pick up my red pen again. Minus 6x plus 6x is gone. Minus 12 plus 12 is 0. So we have no remainder. So it's like this case here. How many times does 2 go into 10? 5. There's no remainder, whereas this one would have a remainder. So what we now know is instead of this here, I can write that this long expression here can be replaced by this times by that. Go back to what I was saying a moment ago. 10 on 2 is 5. So now I can write, in this case, that 10 equal 2 times 5. So what we're doing is we're factorising. We're factorising the 10, you could have just done it in your head. In this case, we're factorising that into its factors, and there are its two factors. So I can factorise the top, and I can go x plus 2, brackets, don't forget the brackets, x squared plus x minus 6. And on the bottom we've got another x plus 2, don't have to write the brackets because the fraction bar means brackets. Now I can cancel those out, and I'm left with a x squared plus an x minus 6. So I could simplify this algebra if I can factorise. So if you factorise and there's a remainder, you can't simplify, but it's still useful for other purposes. So this is long division. Now, by the way, a lot of people will put the x squared there and move it all across one. Looking on the internet and YouTube, about half people put it in the first place and half the people put it in the second place. There's a reasoning probably behind the second place, but either way works the same. So just be careful. I still find that the minuses everyone has to do because otherwise it's just too easy to make mistakes. I hope you're enjoying it. I am. I presently have COVID lockdown here and making more videos for my classes. Please, if you could press like and subscribe, it is encouraging. Thank you.